So during these days in ordinary time, we have the freedom to choose what we call different either votive masses for specific themes of our faith, or even masses for various needs and occasions. And so this morning, I decided to take our prayers from the Mass, asking the Lord for more vocations to the priesthood. We read in that first reading today that great salvific act that the Lord is doing through Moses to bring his people out of slavery, out of the dominion of evil, which is Pharaoh for them, that's leading them to pagan and idol worship. That when it says that they give their service to Pharaoh, that word that is used for service both means the actual serving, but also it gives a connotation of worshiping. That the Lord is calling them out of slavery to go and worship him in the desert. And he is using Moses and Aaron to lead them out of that slavery. The Lord is continuing to call Moses and Aaron's in our time. He's continuing to call young men to lead our people out of the slavery of their sin, offering the sacrifice, offering the sacraments, offering their lives, just like Jesus did, for the salvation of the world. But unfortunately, with so much noise and so many distractions, a lot of our boys, our young men, are missing that call. They are not hearing that call of the Lord. Or they get stuck in this perpetual discernment of, like in the gospel, Lord, give us a sign. Give me this. I spent 9 years waiting for that neon sign in the sky to tell me you are to be a priest. It never came. And here I am. That we have so many young men who are being called, who are not heeding the call, who are not hearing the call. And so we're offering these prayers, and we're told by the Lord, ask the Lord of the harvest, ask for more priests, ask for more shepherds. And unfortunately, we kind of have lost that reality that we need to ask for more shepherds for our church. And we don't do that enough. So as a way of reminder and asking you to please help us. Tell others to pray for priests. You yourselves pray for priests. Encourage your sons and daughters, grandsons and granddaughters to be generous and to listen to the Lord who speaks to them and is calling them to a vocation to religious life or to priesthood. Because the reality is that without the priest, we have no Eucharist. Padre Pio, I believe it was the one who said, it is easier for this world to survive one day without the sun than it is for it to survive one day without the Eucharist. The reality is that we don't have enough priests. This local church alone in Houston has about 1.7 million Catholics, thanks be to God. And it continues to grow very fast. This past year alone, I believe it was over 3,000 people joined the Catholic Church in our local church during the Easter season. And we ordained 3 men to the priesthood. We have 1.7 million Catholics in Houston, and we have maybe over 300 priests. And half of them, they're religious priests that are brought from the outside to help us here. Like Father Aben, our wonderful vicar here. He comes from India to come and help us out here in our local church. We need priests, and a lot of them. Because otherwise, those confessions lines that we come to and we have to wait 2 hours to go to confession, those will only get longer. And they will take longer. It'll be harder for priests to go out and take care of our souls that need anointings or home visits. We need shepherds. We need to pray for them. We need to ask for them. The Lord told us to do so. Ask the owner of the vineyard to send laborers to the vineyard. For these young men to have the generosity to at least say, Lord, I will give you this time to think about it and join seminary. Seminary does not mean they're going to become priests. That's why you can have a group of maybe 50 join the seminary, and that's a lot, because usually it doesn't go past 20 in a single year. And maybe 10 make it to the end, either because they're not ready and they have to wait, they realize that it's not their calling, and because it's the discernment between the church and the young man, the church sees, actually the Lord is calling you to something else. Because in her desperation, the church will not force a young man to become a priest if that's not his vocation. The church desires the happiness and the joy and the well-being of that young man as well as the church. So it's not guaranteed that they will make it to the end, but that they have the generosity to say yes to the Lord with hopes that they will get to the end and we will get more shepherds. So the Lord continues to call, and many are not even hearing the call because of the distractions, because of the noise. Please help me to ask for more priests, for more shepherds. Let the Lord continue to carry out this work of salvation that we hear about, begun in the book of Exodus, actually from the book of Genesis. Because from the moment of the fall, the Lord entered into his great saving mission, his rescue mission. And he's using his priests to do so through his church. And we need his help to provide us for more shepherds.